Hello, and thank you for joining this celebration of QS World Merit and for stopping by to hear what I have to say. I'm Jane Dalton, and I'm an innovation consultant in the UK, helping companies to develop new ideas. So it's perfect that here I am today at the launch of this fantastic new venture. I first heard about the charity from Marlou Cornelissen some 5 years ago when we were both attending a dinner celebrating the achievements of amazing women who are all based in the north of England. Ever since then, I've been continually inspired by the amazing impact that has been created by changemakers around the world. Marlou has been kind enough to come and speak to young changemakers here in Lancaster, which has inspired primary and secondary school projects to encourage everyday positive changes in students' own homes. It's also inspired me to take action. As a business, we've always tried to support our local community. Now we want to take that a step further by setting up a company that will help to support more of our global community. If you read the headlines, you might be told to think that human behaviour is, for the most part, negative, that we're selfish, we only think about others if it serves our own purposes. But what's been visible in reports and research coming out over recent years is that if we want to tackle huge challenges like climate change, technology will be a big part of the answer, but so will human behaviour. And we have to find ways that will bring out the best in people rather than just some bad choices. And what we've seen, particularly over the pandemic, is this real shift between some negative behaviours coming out and some negative choices, with people choosing to make potentially bad decisions or ones which are not great for the planet but might be easier for themselves. But what we've also seen coming out is a very strong sense of community, where communities are coming together, collaborating. Lots of people who didn't necessarily know each other before are working together to make things change for the better and to band together. And there's a definite sense of very strong survival that's coming through. And it's exactly this kind of collective energy and creativity that we'd like to support in the form of Global Parlez. We want this positive worldview to be the one that's taken forward, so that when so much of media attention is focused on the negative. And what we want to do is form a bridge between global decision makers in big organisations with change makers who might be working on very localised projects but having a huge impact on their local community. What we tend to find is that big companies are motivated by numbers, by huge quantities and data reports. But we know the quality of the work that is going on at local level around the world. And we want some of these ideas and that creativity and that resilience to be seen by strategic decision makers. So why should they listen? What's so important about this global community from their perspective? Well, what we know is that big data gives you a really great picture of the large scale trends that are happening in the world. It's absolutely, extremely useful for that. But what it can often miss out is the detail. So it can tell you what's happening as a trend, but it doesn't necessarily tell you why, what's going on underneath the surface and what's motivating people to act in particular ways or to buy particular products and services. And we know that the people that we want to communicate with more, global change makers around the world, are very close to what is going on and what people need in the global community. So why should a global community want to talk more or be heard more by global decision makers? Well, what we can do with the business model at Global Parlez is to make sure that more of the funding that goes into, for example, market research projects for large companies goes direct to small scale projects without the red tape. So instead of you spending large amounts of time on forms, what we want you to be doing is focusing on what needs doing in your local community. And we want to do it in a way which is very straightforward by reimbursing you for time, for contributing to global research projects. And we know the impact of this already because we started work on this project in March, April of last year. And already we've managed to support various projects such as QS World Merit Bangladesh, and it's Nurul here, head of that project, who worked tirelessly with his team throughout the global pandemic, particularly through those first months, to make sure that people had the resources they needed wherever possible. Now, through research projects that we've been running in the UK, we've been able to make contributions to that particular project, but also to several others, to make sure that we can support at grassroots level exactly what's going on, and to bring the richness of that story to people who are not in that community, but who may be interested to hear that. I'm very glad to hear where those kinds of funds are going. So I've just given you a little bit of a snapshot of what we're trying to do with Global Parlez, connect people who want to hear from bright, energetic, creative, resilient people around the world who are making positive change happen. And we'd like to do that with your help. So I very much encourage you to sign up to QS World Merit, but also to Global Parlez. And I think there should be instructions on how to do that in the comments section. And we look forward to hearing your story as part of Global Parlez, and we hope also to be able to support you in the future. Thanks very much for listening and for giving me your attention today. And I hope also to hear more about what you have to say later on. Thanks very much. Bye.